We love you, Queens.
We love you,
We're
Queens.
in your corner, and we've got you, and I will anybody up who's like trying to with anything with you guys. It's really, in all seriousness, there's so many things that are hurting and really killing our kids, and we all know what I'm talking about right now.
What is going on, everybody? Wired here. I hope you guys are having an excellent, wonderful day. And today, once again, we have to get into the whole trans issue. More so, talking about woke Hollywood, or a woke Hollywood actress, Charlize Theron, who I don't really know too well. I know she was on a couple episodes of Arrested Development, because I think that's also honestly a great show. Love that show. But Charlize Theron here has completely gone woke. You know, left of the left. Whereas she is saying now, actress Charlize Theron threatens to F up conservatives worried about drag queens sexualizing children. Because apparently this isn't actually a real issue in our society. This isn't actually happening in schools. This isn't actually, happening. Parents aren't taking their kids to this or anything like that. And what's the response from the very tolerant left here? It's violence, obviously. Obviously, it's violence. And obviously, there are people who are absolutely upset about this.
Seen the recent Charlize Theron clip regarding drag queens? I'm going to show it to you in just a second. So either Charlize Theron has never seen a drag queen show and doesn't realize they are basically exotic dancers, men dressed as women, dancing sexually, which is fine in a 21 and over club, which is where it belongs, but not in front of children, not in front of minors. Anybody under 21 should not be attending these shows, and yet somehow they are in our school system, and not just in America, it's also all over the world.
So yeah, that seems like it's from a very base young lady, Miss Red Pilled Rising, who is essentially saying that, promoting gender dysphoria to impressionable kids, or as some cool social trend, is abhorrently wrong, and it's going to lead to problems down the roads, and that just drag shows in general, just like strip clubs, really should not be normalized content for children, which I think is a personally reasonable take. Obviously, I don't live in Hollywood, luckily for me, and I hope none of you do as well, because I hear it's a liberal trash hole essentially. But not everybody agrees with this, as well as this actress, Miss Charlize Theron, who I don't think has been really relevant. I mean, I've never actually seen her in anything since Arrested Development. And that stopped airing, in its original run, I think back in 2005, 2006. Cut before its time, but she was a minor bit part on it anyway. But yeah, Hollywood actress Charlize Theron blasted people disapproving of the drag queen community and their exposure to children during a pro-drag queen telethon Sunday. She told critics, "I will F anybody up who is like trying to F with anything with drag queens." That's a very articulated point right there, I gotta say. That really, that's how you get your point across. During a portion of last Sunday's Drag Isn't Dangerous telethon, Theron was filmed alongside several of her friends, telling critics of drag to back off. The Atomic Blonde star comments alluded to conservative lawmakers trying to pass laws keeping sexual drag queen performances from being exposed to kids. Seems reasonable to me. Claiming that there are plenty of other things that are more of a danger to children than drag queens, who she added bring more happiness and love to the world. Now, I'm going to say I have no problem with people expressing themselves. I have no problem with the people doing drag or anything like that. However, like I said, in the same vein of strip clubs, it should be limited to a 21 plus audience, as has been dictated by our society, which I find acceptable. I think most reasonable people find acceptable. You got to be 21 to drink, 21 in most states to smoke, 18 to join the army, 16 to drive a car. There are limitations on things based on maturity, essentially. And I don't really see anything wrong with that. There is some content, that's why we have ratings on music. That's why we have ratings on TV shows, movies. You want to take your kid to a show? Oh, it's PG, it's PG-13. There's nothing wrong with that. If there weren't these type of ratings, then people would be exposed to content that they're not supposed to see. a lot earlier on. And there might be an argument to that in itself, but I really do believe the drag queen thing, as well as the same vein as strip clubs and strippers, should be limited to an adult audience. That's just how I feel about it. And I feel like it's really odd that there's people in Hollywood like this fighting back against it, saying, oh, this should just be normalized. This should just be for like 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds, whatever. You know, they're young enough to be exposed to all this stuff, and it's perfectly fine. It's normal. And yet it's not. Theron's video represented one of many celebrities' appearances at the Drag Is Not Dangerous fundraiser, a live telethon event over the weekend put on by Hollywood organization, producer, entertainment group, and major LGBTQIA plus XYZ organizations. The event was organized with the goal of raising money for these LGBTQIA groups to combat bills being pushed in red states like Tennessee and Texas to regulate drag performances in public areas so that minors are not exposed to them. Which seems like a perfectly reasonable and acceptable thing to me. Is anybody out there pushing for, strippers, minors to see strippers? I would hope not, because that's completely unacceptable. It really is. But for some reason, drag queens, that's okay. I really see no difference with it. I'm sorry, I don't. In addition, Theron actress Melissa McCarthy, actor Jesse Eisenberg, comedian Sarah Silverman, and other Hollywood stars made appearances at the event, which also featured performances from famous drag queens. In a self-recorded video that aired during the fundraising, Theron mounted an aggressive defense of the drag queen community against these bills and the general stigma toward drag queens. And I think also she's doing this because she has a child who is transgender. And I think she started transitioning them when they were very young. I think it's an adopted child. I'm not exactly sure. But one of the people who was actually pushing back against this, one of the most sensible people out there, one of the most sensible commentators in this day and age, Megyn Kelly, had this to say about it. And
doesn't Charlize Theron come and fuck me up? Because I'm 100% against her on this. Yes, there's fun drag queen shows. I've been to them. When I lived in Chicago, we went to one that was super fun. It was all adults. But there are drag queen shows out there right now that are deeply disturbing, and they're happening in front of young children. So know what you're supporting. Understand what we're actually seeing out there, which can include absolutely the grooming of young children. Even she should be against that, trans kid or not.
So yeah, what you've seen from Megyn Kelly there is that she's pretty much just speaking up for being a normal, sensible person and saying, hey, listen, this stuff is totally fine. Nothing wrong with it. But it shouldn't be pushed on the children. There's no reason for it to, there's no reason for a child to go to a drag show. Just like there's no reason for a child to go to a strip club. But apparently, if you say this in current woke Hollywood, this is absolute blasphemy. This is lunacy. Which I think is just insane. Children are going to be exposed to this stuff one way or another when they get older, which is what it is. That's our society and whatnot. And they can choose to consume content however they want when they're of the proper age. That's just what I believe. But I don't see any actual argument for exposing children to drag performers before they are of an age where they're actually supposed to consume that sort of content. Just like I would say the same thing with alcohol, cigarettes, joining the army, strip clubs. It's all the same thing. There are age restrictions on certain things for a reason. And I think the fact that somebody would come out here and actually deny that is absolutely insane. This speaks to the corruption of our children. And like I said, I know I hammer this over and over again. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and this stuff very much concerns me because I don't want her to be, essentially corrupted. I don't want that to happen. I want to see her be a child, to go out, play ball, or, do whatever it is, be in the cheerleading squad or, go play baseball or softball or whatever it is, that she wants to do. All this stuff is going to come later. You're going to get exposed to it all anyway. But there's no reason to expose children to drag shows or strip clubs or smoking or drinking or anything like that before they are of the age to do it. That's just how I feel. So I say shame on Charlize Theron. Big props to Megyn Kelly. Big props to the TikToker who's standing up against this. I know there's a couple TikToks that are doing this because people are sick of this woke nonsense. They really are. But anyway, that's all I got. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you very much for listening this long. Later.